A severe winter storm forced North Dakota's governor to issue a mandatory evacuation where Dakota Access Pipeline protesters are camping out. But those protesters say they're not going anywhere. The pipeline would run through Native American land. Activists argue it will damage drinking water and threaten sacred sites. Dave Thompson is in Bismarck, North Dakota. He's the news director for Prairie Public Radio, and he's been following this story since the beginning. He joins me now by phone. Thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it, Dave. I want to ask you. I'm from that area. It snowed at least 10 inches. I know very hardy people up there in North Dakota, but there are thousands of protesters hunkering down in the 10 inches of snow. Do you expect most people there to stay, even though the governor says conditions are life-threatening?
Well, it's almost an act of a little bit of defiance and a little bit of saying, hey, we're here to make a point, we're staying. I believe that in my talks with the protesters, they're staying.
You do. There were earlier reports that government officials would be blocking food and supplies from getting into the camp. It sounded like a spokesperson for the governor then said on Tuesday, well, that's not true. What do you know about the supplies in the camp right now and the back and forth about this?
What I know is basically what you know. There were initial reports that there were going to be blockades of supplies coming into the camp, but they're saying, no, we're not going to do that because some of these are a matter of life or death, and nobody is talking about, life-threatening actions by law enforcement, by state government, anything like that. What complicates the matter is the Corps has also asked the protesters to get off that land because where this one camp is on Corps land. It's actually north of the Standing Rock Tribal Reservation, and the Corps owns the land. The Corps said, we have management on it. We would like the protesters to leave, but they're not going to do it by forcing people out. And in other words, they're not going to send law enforcement down there to get people and yank them off the land. So it's kind of going to, I think, evolve over the next several days to see how this is actually going to play out. Some of the protesters will probably leave, but a number of them have expressed that they're going to stay here until the job is done.
You know, I know they could be charged with trespassing, as you said, but it sounds like the majority of people want to stay to see this thing through. The governor wants protesters out by that deadline of December the 5th. In doing some research, it looks like as many as 2,000 unarmed veterans, though, planning on going to Standing Rock Sioux Reservation to stand between police and the indigenous people. Do you think we can expect a confrontation here? I know everybody wants it to remain peaceful at this point, but, I think you should talk to the fact this has been going on months and months and seems, Dave, in some ways, some days to escalate, some days remain peaceful. But what do we think is going to happen as we get closer to December 5th?
I think what we're hoping and what I'm hearing from the veterans groups that you have talked about is that they're going to try that it's going to be a peaceful situation. They're going to be between the protesters and law enforcement. Law enforcement has been pretty restrained in this whole effort. They have not come in and, been real forceful, but they do respond when provoked. And, we've got a small group of protesters who are not Standing Rock Sioux, who are kind of egging things on from that sense, and they provoke things, and that's what has caused the confrontations at times.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch. There's really no end here. We'll have to see what happens December 5th. Dave Thompson in North Dakota, thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Jamie.